My coworker won't stop complaining about my tattoos. I started a new job in December, and my coworker Carol joined in February. We work for a small company with just 6 of us in production, and we're not customer-facing at all. Everything was fine until the weather warmed up, and I wore short sleeves. That's when Carol noticed my tattoos. She pulled me aside that same day to express how unprofessional she thought I was for having them. I tried to explain that workplace norms are changing and that our company doesn't mind tattoos, but she didn't want to hear it. Since then, she's repeatedly brought it up. At first I responded politely, but eventually I just ignored her comments. I realized she was talking to herself about it and even complained to 3 senior coworkers who really had no authority over me. The tattoos aren't offensive. One set is flowers, and the other is a geometric design. I'm dreading summer, knowing that tank tops and shorts are the norm in our poorly air-conditioned building. Carol is going to be in for a surprise when she sees my full sleeves. Our HR person is part-time and mostly handles onboarding, so I considered going to the owner, but I felt like I should handle this myself. I wanted to put an end to Carol's comments once and for all. 3 weeks later, I ran into Carol in the break room, and she started again. I interrupted her and said, "That's enough. I've asked you politely, and now I'm telling you to stop commenting on my tattoos. They don't come off, and I'm not going to cover them. Your obsession with my skin is really strange, and I don't appreciate it. This is the last conversation I intend to have about this." She looked taken aback, but I didn't give her a chance to respond. I just went back to work. For the rest of that week, she didn't speak to me at all. By the next week, she was only engaging in stilted group conversations, avoiding personal interactions. It was a chilly silence, but it was much better than her nagging. Then we went on site for an installation. It was hot, and we were warned to dress in layers. Of course, during a team swap, I ended up in a tank top, and Carol flipped out. She berated me about my lack of professionalism in someone else's workplace, causing enough of a scene that our boss Jane came over to see what was happening. Carol complained to Jane about my continued and blatant lack of professionalism, but Jane shut her down, saying, "I hired her for her skill, not her skin." I couldn't believe it. Jane quickly became my favorite boss. After that, Carol accused Jane of being unprofessional for tolerating me. About an hour later, Joe, one of the owners, arrived with the HR lady, who was there on her day off. They took Carol back to the workshop, and when they returned, she declared that she couldn't work for such an unprofessional organization and left. That was the last we saw of her, although a scathing review appeared online shortly after. The next day, Jane held individual meetings with everyone, including the senior ladies Carol had complained to. We were all reminded to communicate better and not let issues escalate. Now, there's a designated workroom supervisor and regular check-ins with Jane. The atmosphere is much calmer, and interviews for Carol's replacement start next week. They're also adding a formal policy about tattoos and piercings to our employee handbook, stating that anything goes as long as it's safe and not offensive. Overall, it's been a learning experience for all of us. I'm grateful for the advice I received on how to handle Carol, and I appreciate the positive changes that have come from this situation.